everybody. Welcome to TMI, Too Much Information Live with Moondog. And this one's going to be a little bit different because usually in the format of things, I have my guest in for the second half of the show. But this time, I'm going to bring him up early, and I'll explain why. But let me just get onto the stage here. I've got a special guest, and today is Adam Chasnow, who's a marketing communications creative leader who's focused on finding cultural marketing and media opportunities that connect global brands and services with their audiences. That really sounds like a lot of marketing gobbledygook, but what do you expect from somebody who's a creative director in advertising and a good friend of mine? So let me just bring him up on stage immediately here. Hey, Adam, how are you?
Hey, good to see you, Tom.
Very good. And where are you at right now?
You're right, but I have to make. I spent my whole career trying to simplify everything and distill it down to the essence of what something means, like in as few words as possible. But then I found out that the AI things that read my job applications, they don't want it to be distilled down. They want to have everything in there. So
yeah, because
everything is.
They're going off of the keywords that the HR and the VP is looking for. They give it to the HR department, then they feed it into the algorithm. So yeah, exactly. I know what you did.
But it flies in the face of everything we were trained to do.
Absolutely.
And even when you read content especially on clickbait stuff, they bury the lead intentionally to keep you scrolling through it. Which is at odds with everything that journalists were ever taught. So I feel like we're in this backwards world where everybody is doing things a crappy way because it gets people to stay engaged more, but they won't stay engaged more because it's done in a crappy way. So it's like a kind of full chasing a tail kind of thing,
It is a strange world that we've found ourselves into. Part of it is, I'm sure, is of our own making, but a lot of it is unintended consequences, right? Before we get started, let's give everybody a little bit of a background here. Tell everybody a little bit about you and how you got here.
Yeah, I mean, I got into advertising through a kind of circuitous route. I was a jazz trumpet player all through my high school and college years, and I even went to a university that had a music school because I knew it was probably not a good idea to go into music as a jazz musician.
It's a tough career.
Even in the late, it was a tough career in the late 80s, and it's certainly a tougher career now. It's kind of like being an advertising person in the age of AI. But
true.
I tried to I tried to put off making that decision as long as I could, and I know now, being an advertising freelancer, that I definitely wouldn't have enjoyed being a trumpet freelancer because most of my career in advertising I started out in public relations and became a writer there, and then got into advertising and worked at a lot of agencies, both in New York, San Francisco, and Amsterdam, and Boulder, and some really good ones. And I like the full-time job. I like being part of a group of people that are trying to do everything together and collaboration. And, that's kind of what, so I like that aspect of the business. And you don't have that as a consultant. You don't have that certainly as a freelancer, especially in this day and age post-COVID where nobody's going into the office. So, Tom and I worked together at the second job I had in advertising, and that was a really great collaborative environment.
Oh, yeah, that was a great experience. You're one of, one of my favorite writers, co-workers to work with, and also just the environment there at the time was one of I hold dearly in my memory.
Yeah. And it's the kind of business where it's competitive, but it's also collaborative in the same way. Like, you want to do as well as you can, even possibly better than other people, but you also want to help other people at the same time do their best. And as you move up the ladder in this business, if you're a good creative director, you really have to be pretty selfless and help people achieve, what you are a big part of, and make sure that you let them, take all the glory for it, because that's critical. And, we had a good creative director we were working for there that was like that with us on some of the Amtrak stuff and a lot of the stuff that we worked on for sure.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And I got a couple of comments on the chat. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Long Island. That's on the other side of the country from where Tom and I are now, which is in California, in a town called Great Neck, about 30 minutes outside of Manhattan. And I went to college in Rochester, New York, which is about 6 hours from there.
Yeah, when people say upstate, that is really upstate.
Yeah, Rochester's right. I mean, it's right near across the lake from Toronto. For sure.
Yeah,
and it's cold. It's cold. It's cold there for sure.
Oh yes, you get a lot of lake effect snow in the winter.
Yes, every day. It snowed every day. And I lived in Colorado where it snowed a lot, but didn't snow every day. And it wasn't horrible. Like University of Rochester, all the buildings were connected by tunnels because it was so horrendous that students wouldn't even get out, wouldn't go to classes if they could. Once you kind of got into the main system, you could kind of get anywhere, which was pretty wild.
Yeah, that's pretty miserable winter weather. It's unlike where if it starts snowing in Denver, everybody's excited about hitting the slopes.
For sure. Yeah, it's great. And the snow never stays very long. Somebody said Kodak, baby. I mean, Rochester was like, like kind of a steel belt town that's or not a steel belt, but like one of those belts towns that became home to some major companies like Kodak, for example, was based there. And like pretty much you always knew somebody whose dad worked at Kodak if you went to college there. But then Bausch and Lomb was there. Xerox was founded there. If you're into music, that company MXR started there. It's effects pedals and things like that. But very big, and a bunch of other things. And then the music school was the Eastman School of Music, which was
founded by
George Eastman. So and the university is endowed by the Eastman Trust. But interesting, like these cities, where you can have all this giant business. Now, Kodak is hardly exists anymore. I mean, that's a great case study in itself. I mean, it's still, they're still doing some things. But Bausch and Lomb, was probably bought by somebody. Xerox is in Connecticut now, but Xerox, I mean, all of those three companies, I guess Bausch and Lomb is probably the one that survived the most,
Yeah, I don't know who owns them now. If it's probably, I mean, there's a couple of different divisions. Probably they're like eyeglasses, probably owned by that big conglomerate, that European conglomerate.
Yeah, Essilor. Yeah. Well, at the time when I went to school there, I had a marketing professor who was a brand manager on Ray-Ban, which was at the time owned by Bausch and Lomb, which is now owned by EssilorLuxottica. But, which was pretty cool to have it, like, I mean, iconic brand for the ages, for sure.
And their optics side was they made all the scopes and high end stuff, and for the military sites and things like that. That was like the brand that I was familiar with when for binoculars and things before.
Sure.
Yeah. So. I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I was just thinking about when you're mentioning all these companies is that what I forget, a lot of people forget, is that New York was really the tech hub of the last century, or the previous century, the 19th century, and up until the early part of the 20th century. But it was only because of onerous regulation and legal patent restrictions that a lot of companies went off to the West Coast to try to get away from that, and founded basically the Silicon Valley. And it seems like, oh, okay, we're going through another wave of that with everybody moving out of California, like a lot of tech companies moving out of California. But I digress. Let's talk about. I'm going to keep it about you. And before I'll get into any more of the weeds, I want to pay off everybody who tuned in to answer the question I posted up for my thumbnail as to where I got my nickname Moondog, and it actually came from you. So for everybody out there who's watching here, this man is the guy who gave me my nickname.
Yeah, and I mean it's funny because I was telling my friend Rick Ardito, who's an advertising creative director, that I'm going to be doing a podcast with Tom Del Mundo tonight. And he's like, what are you doing? Why are you going on podcasts on Telemundo? You don't even speak Spanish. And I said, no, Tom Del Mundo. And you guys know, I don't know if you guys ever crossed paths, but yeah, I mean, I do remember creating the nickname for you as well as a bunch of nicknames. I think there
Blue
were,
Blocker and
yeah, I mean, and there was King. And I mean, the thing is, we talk about my New York accent, Gary Rosansky, who was a, creative director there and art director, he would give people nicknames very much like the streets of Queens and Brooklyn, something you might hear like on The Sopranos.
Yeah.
And I think he started just calling you Tommy D right away.
Yeah.
And like you were Tommy D. And everyone knew who you were. It was Tommy Bags and Tommy D, but Tommy D sounds like a very Brooklyn kind of thing.
Yeah.
But then I always liked, my theory with making nicknames was that I would always give somebody a nickname and then I would take the logical part of the nickname off of it. So then you would just use the rest of the nickname. So then you'd have to know the origin yourself. But in your case, that never happened, actually. I mean, your nickname really just came kind of from the sound of your last name, which was Del Mundo, and then Moon coming out of that. But and then, I mean, then we just kind of started calling you Moondog. I mean, it wasn't I mean, if there's a part of it that I'm leaving out, please.
No, that was it. It was like over the course of like a 2-3 week period. You always started calling me Mundo. Hey, Mundo. And then after a while, you started calling me Moondog, and like, okay, whatever. And
Moondog. That makes sense. The logical evolution from Mundo to Moondog. Yeah.
And I never quite understood where, I mean, it's like, okay, that's Chaz being, funny about it. And only later did I find out that there was a jazz composer performer named Moondog. And I thought that's where the connection was.
No connection to that, but I am aware of that kind of a very avant-garde kind of artist. Maybe you have some information on that person.
Well, let's see if I put up a little slide here. Let me just bring that up onto the screen right now. And okay, there we go. This I'm just pulling this off of Wikipedia. So the gentleman who's named Moondog is Louis Thomas Hardin. He died in 1999. So he was still around when we were working together, and he was known professionally as Moondog. He was a composer, musician, street performer, poet, inventor of musical instruments, which I didn't know or what have you. And he made, as you said, avant-garde music that was published, I guess, looking at that imprint on there. What is that, Columbia Music?
Yeah, it's Columbia. So he must have been pretty big.
Yeah. And he performed on 6th Avenue in Manhattan.
Yeah.
In the 50s.
I mean, it sounds like a very 60s hippie kind of musician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm in Berkeley right here now, which is, it just sounds like some guy, Moondog, and I also used to like the fact that we had, Gary was our art director we worked with a lot, and he gave a lot of things up, and he would never usually put the word you would never be the Moondog. It's just Moondog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that was common for a lot of nicknames, you weren't the blank, you were just blank.
Yeah. And I was like Tom. I mean,
like French. Remember French? It was French.
Yeah, French. Not the Frenchman. It's just French. I nobody's called me Tommy D since I worked at DDB, and I kind of missed that. It's like everybody who I work with at the DDB calls me Tommy D, except for you, of course. But yeah,
DDB, and then there's been this news this week that DDB, when we worked there, it was called Doyle Dane. It was called DDB Needham worldwide, but it evolved from the agency Doyle Dane Bernbach, which is famous for doing the Volkswagen ads of the 60s, and then doing a lot of other brilliant work for Avis and Chivas Regal and all, New York Lottery and just tons of stuff. It was a legendary agency, merged at one point with Needham, Harper and Steers in Chicago. that kind of changed the culture of the agency at the time. Evidently, there was like this really creative agency that was like the Apple of ad agencies, you know what I mean? And then there was
Yeah,
this
very
kind of more
creative.
corporate, and
Yeah.
then and they put them together, and that was probably the beginning of the end. That was done in 1986. It's taken a long time to finally end, but they did, resurrect DDB. But I see on LinkedIn a lot of people mourning the death of DDB, but I think we should really be mourning the death of the advertising agency industry as we knew it, which was a really great place for misfits and creative people who really found a role and a job doing something that was exciting and creative and also affected commerce. So there was a business side to it. And that, that kind of rock and roll aspect of business seems to have kind of been lost a little bit. I think it happened a little bit with the early .coms, but now it's like, it's very analytical now,
Oh yeah, I mean, it didn't dawn on me with the popularity of social platforms like Facebook and TikTok and Instagram, but really they've more as much as anything else have really eaten advertising's lunch, because I mean the whole point of advertising is to get your attention and eyeballs on a brand, but if you're spending most of your time watching YouTube and on social media, that's where you are. So they have that information about you, when you're on, what you're watching, what topics you're interested in, what are the keywords. So it should have been, I should have been a lot more, it should have been more obvious to me, but it wasn't. But yeah, to your point, DDB, for everybody out there, a great agency, but a lot of other agencies have all sort of been, what's happened is they're all being merged and into basically three and consolidated. There's only going to be 3 ad agencies in the United States, or major ad agencies now.
Yeah, so it's and it's sad to see the death of emotional triggering advertising that really pulled at people's heartstrings and got them to remember it just based on either great storylines, great visuals, great language, or just repetition for even. And nowadays, it's not really about repetition as much. I mean, as reaching the person who repetition was a bigger thing with us. And I do see repetition because I still watch live sports. So I get to see what's passing for TV commercials nowadays. And it's not really very good. I mean, there are some things that are still great. Of course, there'll always be that. But it's not that we want to get down on the analytics and the performance marketing and how you reach people, but I just think it's a completely different business than the business that we were in, which was creative branding. And I think that's different. And I do see a utility. And if I was shopping for, I'm a musician, I was shopping for a Roland keyboard last week.
Oh, which one?
Last 2. I got the Go Keys 5 in the end. Go Keys 5. It's like an arranger keyboard. It's very, very, very easy to use. But sometimes I'll get involved with my friend who's also a musician, my friend Devin, and we'll be talking about stuff, and I'll send him links and he'll look at it. And then suddenly his phone is looking like he's shopping for a keyboard too. So, yeah. And he's not, so there is a problem with that. But I do think it's helpful when I'm in this purchase pattern of which keyboard should I get. And I'm not someone who buys things immediately. So like, I really like to do the research. I do occasionally get, I do like impulsively buy things occasionally, but something like that, there's just so much great information about that done by reviewers like you out there that can tell you if you should get it or not. And we never had that. When we were in the business, there was no way to do that kind of research. So you had to rely on image and some unique selling point of the thing to get it. But I think it's a utility when I look at my phone and then there's like 3 different ads from Sweetwater and Guitar Center and Roland trying to get me to buy this keyboard. I do find a utility in that. I don't find a utility in it after I bought the keyboard and they keep telling me to buy it. But which I think they should be able to do since they know so much about the credit cards anyway. But anyway, I digress. I mean, I'm just saying that part of advertising, that's not advertising to me. That's marketing. I mean, and advertising is a part of marketing, but we've got to a point where, I wouldn't even say the jury is out, but there is a different thing of programmatic and performance marketing that is changing the way we're sucking consumers into the funnel. That's not from what we did, 25, 30 years ago. I mean, I get it. Things change,
And we were talking a little bit offline before this with you were saying about playing around with Sora and AI, and that's a whole nother can of worms in terms of how things are going to change as it is now. I don't even know if like what I'm doing now with posting reviews on YouTube is going to be around for much longer. If the AI can just take images and talk about products, and it's not that much different than what I'm doing, other than pretty soon the CGI or whatever 3D rendering of people talking is going to just replace me.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't go away, because there's something great about looking at 5 reviews of the same product and unboxing from 5 different people and making your own conclusions, and also seeing them, what they liked about it and what they learned about it. And I mean, it's going to just become very inexpensive collateral materials, which is kind of what the internet got rid of, and the internet first got rid of collateral, by the way, for people out there, was like when you go to buy a car, they give you like all these printed brochures about the car, and you take it home and you'd mull it over and you'd think about it and you'd keep it on your nightstand and you're like, I want to buy that car, and you look at it again and you get another one from another company. And the internet pretty much, like, except for maybe a few luxury brands or luxury categories, still do that. Everything is at our disposal with the internet. You can find out anything about a car from the manufacturer or from car driver or whatever, and when YouTube became just as powerful as that, with people doing reviews, I mean, we're seeing YouTube restaurant reviews being kind of taken over by AI. Even the commercials that they're running for ChatGPT, where it's people cooking together, and it just it scrolls up what the ChatGPT prompts was and then what they said. That could easily have been for YouTube, that campaign. It's the same thing, except this is customized for you, which, we have to decide if that really matters, but, so it's interesting how everything is kind of replacing everything, so.
Now, you're talking about collateral. I wanted to bring up here, this wasn't a piece of collateral, though we did create a lot of collateral in addition to this. But here, I just wanted to share with the folks a piece that we, both of us, created. We were creative partners together. I did the art direction, which is sort of the design side, and Chaz did the writing on this. But let me bring on to stage this ad that we did for the New York Lottery. Want to read it?
Somehow a Hallmark card just doesn't have the same impact as $10,000 in cold cash.
Yeah. Yep. So these were posters that were in like bus shelters, and we did versions that were on the sides of buses, same ads. And we had a couple of different headlines for the campaign. And we also had like pieces that were inside of liquor stores and things where they sold these lottery scratchers. And just to make sure just to prove that we were the guys who came up with this, this is a reprint that they make after, as part of sending these ads to the magazines.
Well, that's actually it's got the hash marks on it and stuff. That might be a proof.
Oh yeah. So this was they trimmed this out. This is probably a proof for printing out a poster or maybe a counter card. And so here, but they put at the bottom the information about who created this, which agency, and who worked on it. And there you go.
Yeah, there's a name for that thing at the bottom. Maybe somebody in the chat could tell me, there's a name for that block of copy at the bottom of the ad. If anybody knows, any ad people, I know there's a couple of ad people on here, but there's a name for that area, which is kind of evidence of not just who did it, but what it's for. This one says a commuter car card, like Tom, you were saying. This was the proportions of something that would run on the Long Island Railroad or Metro North, anywhere where people would see it. Talks about how big that thing would be, and then who it's for and what agency did it. and who did it, so they could find us if anything went wrong with us.
Exactly. So they could trace us back to those culprits. And I know the reason why I wanted us to switch gears is because I know your time is short. You've got a jazz gig that you have to get onto.
Yeah, I'm in a jazz studio at the California Jazz School in Berkeley. I'm in a group with a bunch of other what I call nonprofit jazz musicians. So people like me who've decided not to make it their living, and we play. And there's a leader, this guy Glenn Richmond, who's a professional bass player out here, and I'm about to go play at one of them in a room just kind of like this, but with a lot of people in it. In fact, I'm going to walk toward there, Tom. Okay, and then you can sign me out of the chat. Would that work?
That work. And folks, let me know if you'd love to have Chaz back on to talk about jazz. But while he's doing that, let me show you. Let's see a little bit of the place over here. Let's see, where are we before we get to? So Adam and I worked together on quite a number of campaigns in New York over at DDB at Doyle Dane Bernbach, and including Amtrak and New York Lottery. That's a cool.
That's it. Cool studio. I'm gonna head in here now. Okay.
All right. Well, thanks, Adam, and hope to get you back on to the shows in some later episode. That sounds great. That is weirdly meta. Okay, well, everybody, I want to thank Adam Chasnow for joining us today. Hopefully, we can get him back on as a regular for the show, and maybe catch him playing some jazz. I'll get to find out some more information about where he's playing in the Bay Area, and maybe if he can get me some information about his gigs. If anybody could report back, I'd love to go check out one of his gigs in Berkeley. But again, thanks for Adam for joining us tonight. So let's continue on with the show as usual, sort of in a sort of backwards sequence as we usually do. But I'd like to get on stage this episode's sponsor, even though we usually have this at the top. But it is, again, Aura.com, which is an online cybersecurity company that I use. I would suggest trying them out because you can try them out for free using my code aura.com/moondog. Go use that QR code and go to that URL. That's a unique URL to me. And you can try them out for 14 days for free. You'll get credit monitoring. You'll get VPN services. You'll get data broker removal services, all for free. Try them out for 14 days. So, and let me know how it works out for you. All right. And every episode, or at least I try to, most episodes, I try to give away a little something to everybody who tunes in. And today's something is going to be a set of Holosun patches. Here, you get all three different colors, and they're going to the first 4 people who can give me the correct answer to this. And here's the first clue, which is a visual clue. I'm looking for the name of this brand here. If you know who this brand is based on this little illustration here, send me an email and I'll post a link. Send it to contest@moondogindustries.com, and I'm going to post that address on to the side chat right now. But if you know this, just put the correct answer in. I'm looking for 3 letters here. Put the correct answer in the subject line, hashtag preferably, and then give me your address to ship to, and your address and phone number that you wanted it shipped to in the body of the email. So the first 4 correct answers I get via email will get the set of Holosun patches. All right, I'll give you a few more clues as later in the episode here. But let's get into some of the videos that that I posted up this week on my Moondog 2A channel, I posted a review of Agila Super Extra High Velocity, which is their copper plated round, versus CCI Mini Mag. And here's a little taste of how that test went out. I tested it in the same rifle, which is my Ruger Precision Rimfire, to see which grouped better. All right, we've zeroed out this scope to Agila Super Extra High Velocity. So let's get started. So I'm aiming at the top left diamond. Wow, that was a big shift there. Ooh, okay. Not a very tight group. All right. Next up, we have CCI Mini Mags. Well, starting off a little closer at least. Okay, well, maybe it's not going to group better. We'll see. At least it landed where I was aiming. That's a one-time. All right, so that is the first of 4 targets that I shot. I shot all 4 corners with both ammos. And you can see if you go to the video on Moondog 2A, the full test. And of course, every rifle is different, but I wanted to see how well both of those ammos shot. And the popular belief is that at 100 yards, you don't want to be using high velocity ammo, because by the time it gets to the target at 100 yards, it's dropped so much in velocity that it goes from supersonic to subsonic. It goes through that transonic regime, and that's when a object experiences the most turbulence in terms of the compression of air, and so that can introduce more drift and imprecision in your groupings. But I found that at least at 100 yards with this ammo, it didn't group as poorly as I would have expected. I know those groups weren't great for sure to anybody who shoots a precision, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. So, but anyway, you'll see if you watch the full video. All right, now on my Moondog Reviews channel, I posted the announcement of this contest that I'll be talking about later in the show as well. And this is the video that I posted you could win 2 prizes. There's 2 different contests that are going on this month. One is for a Noblex red dot, and the other is for a Claris E5 Plus. Here, I'll show you the shorts for each of those contests. Hey everyone, I want to let you know of a premium prize that I'm giving away this month. This is a Noblex NV. This is a $400 red dot sight, German made from Noblex, one of the original inventors of pistol reflex sights. Well, you get a chance to win one for free. Go to my website at moondogindustries.com/contest for details. The deadline for entry is Sunday, November 30th, and I'll be drawing a winner on my live stream, TMI. That's on Wednesday nights. I'll be drawing a winner on the first week of December. So get your entries in. Good luck. God bless. Moondog out. So, by the way, that is Noblex, which was the inventor of the Doctor footprint. The company was Doctor before they changed the name to Noblex. But this particular model has a footprint for a Glock MOS. So it's made to co-witness with factory sights. And here's the contest for the EDC. This is the Claris E5 Plus, the thinnest, lightest EDC light you've ever seen, and I'm giving away one for free. Enter to win at moondogindustries.com/contest. So yeah, you'll get a choice of one of these. They have a couple of different colors as well. So you've got and this is remarkably thin. You can see how thin that is. It's like a stick of gum, or I guess there are probably some vapes are about this size, but it is super thin, super light, and also remarkably still pretty bright. So yeah, and it has two different emitters for it has the side as well as the front. So, and it's clip on. So this is pretty cool. All right, let me just, and magnetic as well. All right. So on my Moondog Go channel, I posted a video that I shot over at the New York's LaGuardia Airport. And if you didn't know, they spent 7 years and $8 billion to remodel this airport, and they're still in the process of finishing it. But it is a spectacular improvement from the way it used to look. And if you could kind of see a little bit of what it used to look like, it was pretty much, most of it was built in the 70s. And if you look at the old, you look at Home Alone 2, you could see that's the airport that Kevin landed in when he was stranded in New York. And I'm sure $8 billion is a lot of money. Let me just say that, but it looks so much better than it used to. I don't know if I'd say it's $8 billion better, but it does look quite a bit better. And let's give you a little taste of what I was seeing as I was walking in. And this is actually, the airport has two different levels here. We're at the upper level, the arrivals. And this is me just walking over to the TSA security line from the airline desks that were in the background there. And you can see the full video where I walk through. I can't show the TSA line, but once I get past the TSA line, you get to see the inside of walking towards the gates inside of the terminal. And it's pretty cool. A much better airport now, interior wise, and just being in it than JFK. So that's, if that means something to you guys, I would recommend flying into LaGuardia now over JFK. Though I don't recommend flying anytime right now with the government shutdown and the strained air traffic controllers. I'd probably avoid flying if I could at this time of day. This time. Okay, so for my next week's video, actually, I'm going to bring this back because I didn't get any suggestions on this video that's going to be coming up this weekend. And this is for the Tracked Toric UHD. And this is a compact 30 millimeter binocular that uses German shot glass, high light transference shot glass. So that's the kind of glass that like Zeiss scopes use. So it's really high-end glass. And if you guys have any better headline than this one, shot. So I don't know. If you can come up with a better headline, post it in the side chat there, and let me know if you had any other questions about this. Looking through this, it's a really nice pair of binoculars. The only thing that's, I would say, they have a larger, the 50 millimeter sized binoculars, but I prefer this one just for general use, because it's lighter than the 50, and with the shot glass you're not losing much in terms of brightness. So yeah, I think unless you really want the extra size of the 50 millimeter version of this, I think it's great stuff. Shots, anyone? TJ says top of the class with German glass. I like that rhyme. So those are good. Let me screenshot those. All right. Thanks, guys. Okay. So here's our next clue in the name of the brand here. this 3-letter named company is one of the oldest record and music companies in America. It began in 1901 as the Victor Recording Machine Company, and once you got that illustration you saw earlier, with a trademark His Master's Voice, which is the painting of the dog listening with the Victrola, the old crank a record player. It was bought by the Radio Corporation of America. So there's a big clue from which it gets its legendary 3-letter name. So if you know who this brand is, send me an email and I'll again post it up here. Send it to contest@moondogindustries.com and put the correct answer in the subject line and put your address and phone number in the body of the email. And the first four correct answers will receive a set of Holosun patches. So that's for the first 4 correct answers that I get via email today. All right, there's your clue. And speaking of contests, let's talk about the contests that are coming up here. Now, this is also the time that I want to pick the winners of last month's contest. Now, for that contest, we're giving away this FRS GMRS radio adapter that fits onto Howard Light Impact Sports headsets, or Pro Hear headsets. It's actually made by Pro Hear for their headsets, but their headsets are Howard Light compatible. So we have our entries, and it was it's free to enter, but the deadline was Halloween. So, but we have our winners, our potential winners. Let me bring up the screen here and see, share the screen. We have, and whoa, okay, wait, I think I've lost it. Okay, there we go. The wheel of names. It wasn't quite showing up at the time. There we go. Okay, so I don't have Adam here to count me off, so I will just spin the wheel. So we'll see who wins. All right, Vincent. Congratulations. So he's going to be winning the set of Pro Hear adapters, headset adapters directly from Pro Hear. I'll be forwarding on his contact information to Pro Hear, and Pro Hear will be mailing him his headset adapters. So that's great. Congratulations. All right. And for everybody else out there, I'll be giving you some information about the contest that's going on right now on my website. But I also want to let you know that there is a fundraiser going on that I'm sponsoring for my son's middle school, and they're going on a class trip to DC next beginning this coming spring, and I'm helping him fundraise for that by giving away some of the stuff that I've reviewed. So here's breaking news here. So here's the link, and I'll post it onto the side chat here for the yard sale. And for the yard sale, what I'm asking is, I'm putting up the items that I'm reviewing that are available at less than half of the street price that you can get for them. And if you make a donation to the fundraiser for that amount, I will ship you that item. But I don't think I had the time to remove this in the time between the time of, I'll do that right now, but between the time of posting up the slides for this and now, somebody has claimed the Monstrum Raider, and I'm just taking it off of the web page right now. Somebody claimed the Monstrum Raider that you see here, so they've already claimed that. But there's a scope, and there's another sample of the Noblex red dot that's a prize of the contest. Don't worry, you can get the Noblex red dot directly from Noblex, but the one that I have, I'm putting it up on the yard sale. So if you're interested in getting any of those items, and I'll be adding a new item every week, so Right now I have a 40 power scope and the Noblex available on the yard sale. And oh, that's weird. Okay, that's an old slide. The contest that's going on now that is on the website, there's two contests. One is for the Noblex, which is the red dot on the left. The other one is for the Claris EDC. So in that case, you can find out information and links to both of those contests on my website at moondogindustries.com/contest. I'll be drawing winner at the beginning of next month. So you have until the end of this month to enter either or both of those contests to win them. Noblex, of course, is sponsoring the Noblex NV Red Dot contest, and Claris is sponsoring their own contest. So they're actually two separate contests, but they're just going on at the same time because both of them wanted me to do the contest during November because it is, Black Friday, and of course this is all they want to get as much eyeballs onto their brands as possible. So that's the reason I combined them both for this month. But who knows? Maybe in future I'll be able to offer more multiple contests. But this month is just a wealth of offerings from these brands that I'm sharing with you guys. So you get double the chances to win something this month for the contest, and it's free to enter. It's absolutely free to enter. So you can find all the details in moondogindustries.com/contest. And wow, okay, we've because Adam was in the beginning of the show. I'm a little on the short side as far as content to talk about, because we've got through pretty much the entire show now. I'm kind of leaving it up to you guys. What do you want me to do? Do you want me to just talk about advertising for a bit? I've got actually I had queued up a couple of videos of commercials that Adam and I had worked on, but he unfortunately couldn't stay with me to talk about them. But maybe let's maybe share them with you, and we can talk a little bit. I can answer some of your questions about them. And let me just look through. Let me just call out some of the folks who are on the side chat here. I'm going backwards here. Got Tim Mooney here. The light over my kitchen sink is 2,000 lumens. There's a big difference in heat between a flashlight and a light fixture. Yeah, and a lot of LED lights are super bright, but one of the things that I learned about them is that they're supposed to have in theory they have a longer lifespan than incandescents because they don't burn as hot. But the problem is a lot of LED fixtures and LED bulbs don't have adequate heat dispersion venting. So even though inherently they aren't quite as hot, because of the inadequate ventilation, the components that make up the control circuitry for the LEDs tend to burn out. So they don't quite have the lifespan that is touted in on the boxes, but they are pretty bright. And the other thing is the color balance. I don't know. I tend to prefer incandescent bulbs still in terms of just the warm light. Just it's more pleasing to the eye to me. And I'm a graphic designer by trade, so I know that we're always trying to be as accurate to like a midday sun in terms of color temperature. And to the point that whenever we proof things, we have special light rooms where the bulbs are calibrated to noonday sun. But for my own personal uses, I tend to like warmer lights, and and even to the point where I like warmer incandescent bulbs in my on my headlamps on my cars. I really hate the xenon and the bright LED bluish light. I don't know. It's very grating on my eyes. I don't know what you guys think. Vanessa Kitty says, true. Make sure you find LEDs that have good heat sinks. And Tim Mooney says, some lights have huge aluminum heat sinks to help them from burning up. And the problem is because a lot of our light fixtures in our homes were made originally designed for incandescence, or even worse, were designed for fluorescence, which run even cooler than either LEDs or incandescence. They don't have the proper venting for when you put an LED bulb, replacement bulb in them, and that can also make them go out faster. Abrasive Patriot says LED car lights are a pet peeve of mine. Yeah, same here. Same here. So let me put up one of the commercials that Adam and I worked on. Well, we still have a little bit of time here before the show ends at 10 o'clock for you guys, but here we go.
Problem? Maybe we can help. We're from Amtrak. Hi, my name's Mike.
I'm Steve. Let us show you a better way.
Welcome aboard Amtrak's Northeast Direct.
Take your shoes off and relax.
We've got destinations up and down the East Coast.
Bye-bye, traffic.
Aren't you glad you're in our car? We've got food and snacks. When you arrive, you're in the center of it all. Absolutely beautiful.
Amtrak's new Northeast Direct.
Wouldn't you rather be in one of our cars?
So that was one of the first commercials that Adam and I worked together. One with a big campaign for Amtrak, and it was part of 3 different commercials that we created together. And Adam, as the jazz musician that he is, was instrumental in picking the composers for that particular song, who are all like jazz legends, actually. So it was a total coup that he got some really heavy hitters. A lot of them maybe aren't as familiar as names, and I wish he was on here because I don't remember all the names, other than Larry Goulding, who's a jazz keyboard player. You might want to Google his name on there, but I'll have Adam back on in a future episode. He can give you a little more background information about the jazz piece. But we actually had pieces composed for those jazz pieces, the songs for the commercial, and a little and Hillbilly said, did I miss how? Yes, you did. So I'll recap it for you. So Adam was my writing partner at DDB with Joel Jane Bernbach, which is the agency that we both worked at for a couple of years in New York City. And DDB was a very legendary ad agency. They did the original Volkswagen commercials and ad campaign when Volkswagen was introduced in the U.S. with a bug. So, and they were well known in New York in the advertising agency biz for being a very creative shop. And so Adam and I were working together. He was my writing partner. They usually, when you work in advertising, in the creative team, it's a team of 2 people. There's the art person and the writing person, the copywriter and the art director. And I usually, okay. Sorry about that. That's that was a graphic that was triggered by me putting 2 fingers up. Anyway, so I was typically the art director, even though I'm a switch hitter. I am also a copywriter, but that's pretty rare in advertising. But anyway, so when Adam and I worked together, I was the art director and he was the copywriter on projects. And we came up with the ad campaign, Wouldn't You Rather Be in One of Our Cars, for the Northeast Direct service for Amtrak. And by the way, I'm in this commercial as well as being the art director for the commercial. And we both hired a film director to direct the commercial itself. But I am actually in the commercial. Let me see if I can find the spot where you could find me here.
We've got food and snacks.
All right. So if you can see there at the very top right, the guy in the t-shirt there drinking, that's me. So I got into my commercial, and this actually became a kind of a habit with a lot of commercials that I worked on. I would try to insert myself into the background, kind of Albert Hitchcock-esque. I would try to sneak myself into one of the background characters. But that's me over there. So yeah, we actually, Amtrak gave us a whole train for an entire week to film in. So we were filming in Boston, in New York, and in Philadelphia, and all the way in between those 3 stations for the ad campaign. So that was a fun shoot. Oh yeah, there's some other interesting backstories, but I'll leave that for the next time Adam joins us. And before we finish off the show, I wanted to share the other. Oh, you know what? I'll hold it up for when Adam gets back onto the show. But yeah, so TJ Play Nice posted up. I wrote and voiced ads for a lot of small local accounts during my time in radio. Biggest ad I voiced was in Midwest was a Pepsi promotion a long time ago. So DJ Play Nice, if you watch him on other podcasts, he's got a great voice and totally a radio voice. So this deep, very very baritone, rich voice, and I could totally see you or hear you in my head doing an ad plug. So you're perfect for that. And you know what? I would love to get TJ. I'd love to get you on my one of my live stream shows as a guest, since I've already talked you up as far as your golden voice. But I'd love to get you on the show talking about your DJ career, your career in radio as well. So I don't know. Maybe you're available in some future Wednesday. That would be great. And if you guys have any other questions about advertising and would love to have more of my old work co-patriots out there, let me know in the side chat or in the comment section, and I'll see if I can drum them up. A lot of folks who are in the ad biz are a little wary about talking about the ad biz because it gets they don't want to talk about any clients that they have or potential clients because that'll come back to bite you. So there are most of the folks I've my old working partners are a little wary about talking about anything in advertising on a podcast. But at the very least, Adam and Adam can talk about jazz, and so that doesn't necessarily affect any of his future clients. But it's always fun talking about the folks who created those ad campaigns, the TV commercials, and that we all know and love. And maybe I'll do a segment just on advertising. And let me know. You know what? Let me know in the comments what your favorite ad campaign was. Maybe it was the "What's Up, Guys" for Budweiser, or maybe it was the Mean Joe Green Pepsi commercial sorry, so was it Coke? Now I'm forgetting. That's so bad. Okay, it's a cultural icon, but I can't remember now which brand it was for. Oh, there we go. So Tim says, "Where's the beef?" If you post in the comment section what was your favorite ad campaign, and maybe I'll track down the folks who worked on that. But anyway, folks, remember to hit that like button before you'll leave entirely from watching this video, and be sure to enter those contests. I'll post up one more time the link to the contests that are going on this month, as well as the yard sale, should you want to pick up any items as well. And it was great to have one of my old working partners, especially, and an old friend, and really gave me a good education, or at least expanded my knowledge of jazz, which I always had a penchant for. But coming from a real jazz musician, he exposed me to a lot of other styles of jazz that I wasn't quite aware of. And I think it was Adam who dragged me to a live performance with Max Roach in the Village. So that was a really great once in a lifetime event. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and I want to congratulate Vincent again for winning the Pro Hear headsets, and I want to thank everybody out there for tuning in today. And I hope you learned something, and I hope it was entertaining. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. You all be safe out there. God bless. Moondog out. Hey, I'd like to know what you thought of this video. Leave me a comment or chat with me on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, MeWe, Instagram, or Locals. And if you want to see all of my videos, go to moondogindustries.com.